Would you leave everything behind in the dead of night, not knowing what's ahead? For my family and millions of others, that was the only option. This is the real story of the Great Migration. The Great Migration was one of the most significant movements in American history. Over 6 million African Americans left the South between 1910 and 1970, seeking better jobs, safer communities, and basic human rights. But their journey was anything but easy. In this video, we'll explore why they left, how they traveled, and what they found when they arrived. Along the way, I'll also share a personal story of how my own family made this journey from Arkansas to Chicago in the mid-60s. Greetings and welcome, history seekers. I'm Carolyn A. from GettingToTheRoots.com. Here, we're all about uncovering and celebrating your unique family history. Together, we'll explore and honor the stories that define us. Let's dive in. What was the Great Migration? Before we get too deep, let's make sure we all understand what the Great Migration was. Between 1910 and 1970, over 6 million African Americans left the rural South for cities in the North, Midwest, and West. Even though migration patterns slowed after 1960, the impact of the Great Migration continued well into the 1970s. Now, imagine living in a place where you couldn't vote, where your children were forced to attend inferior schools, and where the threat of violence loomed over you every day. This was the reality for millions of African Americans living under Jim Crow. But they weren't just running away. They were running toward something too. They were chasing opportunities, better jobs, a chance to educate their children, and most of all, dignity. Leaving wasn't just about survival. It was about hope. And if you're watching this, chances are your family may have been part of this movement. Let me know in the comments where your family migrated from and where they ended up. Why did they leave the South? To understand why people left, we have to take a look at the conditions in the South. Jim Crow laws weren't just rules. They were a way to keep black people poor, uneducated, and living in fear. Segregated schools, poll taxes, and violent groups like the Ku Klux Klan kept black communities under constant threat. For my family, that fear became real in the late 1950s. My older brother had to leave Driver after a white man hit him. And he hit the man back. That was enough to put his life in danger. In the South, a black person defending themselves against a white person could mean death. My brother had no choice but to leave, just like so many others who were forced to escape to save their lives. But let's not forget about the economy. Many black families were sharecroppers, tied to the land with little chance of ever owning it. Every year, they'd be told they owed more money to the landowner than they made. It was a system set up to keep them in debt and to keep them from leaving. Then something big happened. World War I. As men went off to war, factories in northern cities needed workers. Newspapers like the Chicago Defender spread the word that jobs were waiting for black men and women. So, people packed up their bags, boarded trains, and headed north. Can you imagine the courage that took? Leaving behind everything you've ever known, unsure of what's waiting on the other side. How did they travel? Now, let's talk about how people got there. Picture this, families crammed into segregated train cars, enduring days of discomfort and humiliation, all for the chance at a better life. Some even set out on foot, with nothing but the clothes on their backs and hope in their hearts. The journey was long, uncomfortable, and sometimes dangerous. People often had to sit in the colored section of trains, which were cramped and dirty. If you've ever been on a crowded bus or train, imagine that, but for hours or even days. They weren't carrying fancy luggage either. People brought what they could carry in their arms. Maybe a suitcase, maybe just a sack with some clothes and personal items. Many left behind family heirlooms because there just wasn't enough room to take them. For my family, the journey was just as risky. My parents were sharecroppers in a small town called Driver, Arkansas. In 1966, my father made the difficult decision to leave first, heading north to join my older sister and her husband in Chicago. After he left, the landowners harassed my mother constantly, fearing she would leave too. 6 months later, the plan was set. Most of the children were sent to my grandmother's house in another city, while my mother stayed behind with one child to avoid raising suspicion. In the middle of the night, my father's friend arrived with a station wagon. My mother, 8 children, the driver, and his wife all squeezed in, leaving everything behind. My older sisters kept whispering, "Pinch me, wake me up," because they couldn't believe we were finally leaving. I was just 6 years old. I didn't fully understand what was happening, but I knew one thing. Everything was about to change. When we arrived in Chicago, it was a shock. The neighborhoods were different. The people were struggling. We moved to 47th Street on the south side, a rough area where we had to fight just to fit in. My mother found work in hotels, and my father took jobs in small factories. Life wasn't easy, but it was a new beginning. Not long, my parents moved us to a better area near 87th and Halsted. We were no longer sharecroppers. We were free. Or so we thought. So, where did they all go? The Great Migration reshaped cities across the North, Midwest, and West, with millions of Black families settling in new urban centers that would soon become cultural and political strongholds. Some of the most popular destinations included Chicago, Illinois. One of the most well-known destinations, Chicago attracted migrants with jobs in steel mills, railroads, and meatpacking plants. It also became a cultural powerhouse, as blues musicians from Mississippi and Louisiana brought their sound to clubs on the South Side, influencing the development of jazz and later soul music. Detroit, Michigan. The promise of stable, well-paying jobs in the auto industry made Detroit a top destination. Companies like Ford hired Black workers in increasing numbers, and the city soon became a hub for Black homeownership and labor activism. Later, Detroit gave rise to Motown, one of the most influential music labels in history. New York City, New York. Black migrants from the South flooded into Harlem, transforming it into the center of Black art, literature, and music during the Harlem Renaissance. While discrimination existed, New York offered more opportunities in skilled labor, business, and the arts than the rural South ever could. Los Angeles, California. With a growing economy based on shipbuilding, manufacturing, and the film industry, Los Angeles became a major draw, especially during the second wave of migration from the 1940s to the 1960s. South Central LA became a thriving Black community, and the city later played a major role in the development of hip-hop and Black activism. Cleveland, Ohio. A major industrial hub, Cleveland offered work in steel mills, automotive plants, and chemical factories. The city's Black population grew rapidly, creating tight-knit communities that supported Black businesses, churches, and social organizations. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. As one of the oldest and most historically significant cities in America, Philadelphia provided opportunities in the textile, railroad, and shipbuilding industries. By the mid-20th century, the city became home to one of the largest Black populations in the North, with thriving cultural centers and civil rights activism. Oakland, California. During World War II, Oakland became a prime destination for Black workers looking for jobs in shipyards, warehouses, and transportation. The city later became a key center for Black political movements, including the rise of the Black Panthers Party in the 1960s. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Known for its steel industry, Pittsburgh attracted thousands of Black migrants looking for industrial jobs. The city also became a major center for Black jazz musicians, with legends like Billy Eckstine and Mary Lou Williams shaping the city's vibrant music scene. Life in the North, better, but not perfect? Leaving the South didn't mean escaping racism. In the North, Black families faced housing discrimination, redlining, and overcrowding. Landlords charged high rents for poor housing, and banks denied mortgages to Black families in white neighborhoods, keeping them trapped in underfunded areas. Jobs were limited and unequal. Black workers were often given the lowest paying, most dangerous jobs. They earned less than white workers and were the first to be laid off. Families were torn apart. The migration separated relatives who once lived close together, making it harder to maintain strong support systems. Schools were overcrowded and underfunded. While Northern schools weren't segregated by law, Black children often received an inferior education with fewer resources and opportunities. Police misconduct was a constant threat. Black neighborhoods faced racial profiling, harassment, and excessive force, deepening distrust between the community and law enforcement. Why this story matters today. The Great Migration wasn't just about moving from one place to another. It was about resilience, courage, and hope. It's about how people with nothing more than their faith and their dreams built a future for themselves and their children. If you're feeling stuck in life, look to their example. They didn't have GPS, credit cards, or relocation services. All they had was determination and a belief that life could be better. If you've ever had to start over, maybe you've moved to a new city or taken a big risk, you know how scary that is. But our ancestors did it with less, and they succeeded. That's why their story is so important. Well, that's a wrap, history seekers. If you found this story compelling, explore more untold truths in our full playlist, The 400-Year Journey from Africa to America. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and join our email list to stay connected. Thanks for watching. Peace and love.